done, and it has finally come to an end. WandaVision finished on Friday. The last episode came out, and depending which way you look at it, it ended okay, really well, or lackluster. I think that's one of the three ways you could probably take it. For those who don't know, this was the first. I know Netflix did bloody like Daredevil, Luke Cage, Punisher, Jessica Jones. I personally didn't like those. Punisher was okay in first season or two of Daredevil, but overall they were all boring. And the characters they had, even though the actors were really good, I would have rather seen them in a film or save it for this, Disney Plus. But they didn't know. But yeah, this is the first series that involves characters from the films, from the big Marvel Cinematic Universe, focusing on Wanda Maximoff and the robot Vision. And I'm gonna have to. It's gonna have to be spoilers. I'll put it in the title, and I'm gonna put it in the comments so at least you know. I can't talk about this. I'm not gonna go into every single little detail because there's probably reviews out there for every single episode. There was 9 episodes altogether. But I'm just going to talk about the last episode and the overall story of the show out of order, of the show that happened. So, again, spoilers. You have been warned. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. If you don't care, then thanks for staying. So yeah, this show focuses on Wanda, and she lost Vision. Vision died in Avengers Infinity War. He had the Mind Stone taken out of him by Thanos, and he was gone. And even the stuff they did in Endgame when they went back in time and everything, they couldn't change it. It is what it is. So pretty much this season is Wanda grieving and her dealing with it in her own way. And yeah, it does have repercussions. Because all we know about Wanda is, in the films anyway, she was affected by the Mind Stone. It gave her powers, and her twin brother Pietro, and she could just manipulate stuff. She can mess with your head, and she can move things and create energy blasts or whatever. But we all know that people who read the comics and know Wanda from the X-Men, we know she's super, super powerful. You kind of got a glimpse of that in Endgame, and there's a lot more to her. Because in the comics, she's said to be a mutant, and mutants haven't been seen yet. And with the buying of 20th Century Fox, they're going to start doing stuff like X-Men, Fantastic Four. They're going to find a way to put all that together. So in this series ends up being kind of like another origin story for Wanda. That's probably one of the ways I can describe it. And it's done really well, and Elizabeth Olsen, who plays her, is just amazing, and Paul Bettany as Vision. Their chemistry is just great, and there's so many good lines, and the ending as well was really nice. It was touching. But yeah, so Wanda finds out that Vision's body is being held by this government agency called SWORD. Don't ask me what SWORD stands for, but it's something to do with space. Anyway, and it was built around the woman, Captain Marvel's friend, Monica, no, that's her daughter. Rambo was her name. She was the pilot, and her daughter was in that. She was the one who sort of helped her pick her colours for her suit. She's in this show, and her mum helped establish this SWORD agency, and they deal with space stuff because Captain Marvel's from space, Thanos was from space, so they're gonna be getting ready to go out to space, I'm assuming. So yeah, Monica's for this agent, and also we have Agent Woo. He's the guy from Ant-Man and the Wasp. I loved him. He was so good, and he's a really funny actor as well. And Darcy's back as well. Darcy from Thor. I'm not fussed on. I don't know if I do actually like Kat Dennings now. I mean, the character was okay, but I don't know. There's just something about her. Sometimes she's like, Darcy. You just like to see her sometimes, and she just adds a bit of sunshine. But yeah, to each their own. So yeah, so you got a couple of returning side characters, and so Wanda goes to the sword base because she finds out that they're holding Vision's body. He's ripped apart. It can be quite traumatizing. And she's obviously angry and upset. She smashes the window. She flies down, and she because when you think about it, it's a really cool little thing because he's got the Mind Stone in his head, the Mind Stone that helped bring him to life. The Mind Stone also gave Wanda her powers, or unlocked her powers. So that's the connection they share, and that's why they have such this deep love for each other. So that's a really smart way the writers did that. I like that. And she's like, she finally sort of comes to terms, and she's like, I can't feel you. You are really gone. And she leaves. Then she goes to this place called Westview, small sort of rural town, where Vision, or whether they both did, I don't know, or whether it was a surprise, they bought just a plot where they could build a house and settle down, and she goes there, and it's like way too much for her, and just her energy explodes, and the entire town is covered in like what they eventually end up calling the Hex, and it's just this bubble of Wanda's energy, and she creates this town based on a 50s sitcom. And as you can see from the picture there and other pictures, every episode goes through a different decade of different styles of sitcom. And we find that out because when she was younger, when she was a little girl living in Sokovia with her family, they used to watch these old sitcoms like Dick Van Dyke and Bewitched and things like that. Malcolm in the Middle. So she just creates this world that her and Vision can finally live in, and the like, it's all black and white. She even creates another version of Vision. And then that's when the show starts. The show picks up, and we're all wondering what the hell is going on. And it's edited like a show. Like, it just jump cuts and credits roll, and you see people watching it from the outside. So when this show started, it did such a good job of asking so many questions, and you had to wait until the following week. It was so good. Then after all the decades, I did like the sitcoms. They were really done really well. The acting, there were some funny lines in there as well. Then it gets to a point where they end up having kids. They have twin boys, and they grow quite fast. They get to, like, I don't know, 10 years old, 12 years old. I don't know how old they are. And they have powers as well. One's got super speed, and the other one, I think, I don't know, he's like similar powers as Wanda, I think. And then Vision starts to not crack, but as the season goes on, he starts to think, right, something's not right here. This is really weird. Things are happening. He tries to question Wanda on it. We're cutting back to Monica Rambeau, the daughter of the woman from Captain Marvel. She's in there as well, and her memory gets wiped, but then she starts to realise, and then Wanda chucks her out. We learn a bit more about her. And then SWORD, the agency, they set up their camp outside the Hex. They're monitoring. That's when Darcy comes in, Agent Wu, and they're watching inside like a TV show. And it's really trippy. And they just say, she is the Darcy pretty much, because that's what I like as well, what they've done with Darcy. They haven't made it like, I'm a kooky sidekick, doopy doopy doop, iPods and all that. Like from the first film, she actually is smart, and she learned something from Jane, whatever her name is, from Thor. And she says that Wanda is creating the energy that she's got inside this Hex is equal to that of the Big Bang, what created the universe. So she is literally altering reality. She is taking stuff within that Hex bubble thing, and she is altering it. And they prove that when Monica goes in, and she had like a Kevlar bulletproof vest thing, and that got turned into like a 70s style outfit. And so she's taken the material and she's changed it. So she is literally altering cells. And Monica's cells are altered. She goes through the wall thing, and she does it twice. And she gets superpowers. And she does become a superhero. I think it is Proton, or Photon. I don't know. Don't quite know what her powers are. But I think we're going to be seeing her in Captain Marvel too. Especially with the post-credit scene in the last episode I'll talk about. So things start to break down, and then the amount of speculation for this series and the amount of theories and hopes, I I mean, people were grasping. They really were. They forgetting the fact that we were focusing on Wanda and Vision. I'm glad that the writers and anyone making this weren't making this like an X-Men trailer or a Fantastic Four trailer. You know, they were like, that's fine. If you want to think about that, speculate, that's fine. But we're telling a story here about Wanda and Vision. You know, and mainly Wanda, really. So then, and it all really sort of kicked off when Pietro showed up. Now, this wasn't Pietro, played by the guy Aaron Taylor Johnson. I can't remember his name. Yeah, the one who played him in Age of Ultron. This is the Quicksilver, the Pietro, who was played by, I don't know his name, but he was played by the guy in the newer X-Men films. And that's when people were thinking, oh my god, X-Men's gonna come into this. Oh my god. It's not him. It really wasn't him. It was just another guy who was living in the town. And they just use it as an Easter egg to tease. Because if I'm being completely honest, especially with the new X-Men, and if Marvel do end up bringing X-Men characters into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we have Avengers versus X-Men or whatever, pick a new cast, please. I couldn't stand them. The only people I like from the newer X-Men films, I mean, of course, Hugh Jackman as Logan, always going to stay with me. But James McAvoy as Professor X, Michael Fassbender as Magneto, they were the only ones I liked. So just pick a new cast. Just pick a new cast. So yeah, so that was a tease. She was like, "Oh my god, what are you doing here?" You know, Pietro's back and freaking out, and then it's revealed that one of the characters in this, Agnes. Yeah, that's right. She said her name was Agnes, but her real name was Agatha Harkness. That's right. She is revealed to be a witch. There's witches now. She was revealed in one of the episodes with an awesome theme song. The music in this was really fun. Like when it first started, WandaVision, WandaVision. It was really catchy. And then Agatha's came on. It was like, it was Agatha all along. I loved it. It was so good. And she's so good as well. The one who plays her, she was so fun. She's like, to me, she's like another Loki. I love her. But she was so good. She was so charismatic. And just, yeah, you could tell there was some evil going on there. But it was always, she came across really well as being lovable and like a mother kind of figure. But there was still something sinister going on. So I really liked her. She was really good. Yeah, she is Agatha Harkness. And she discovers Wanda, and she brings her down into her basement where she's kidnapped her kids. There was even a theory as well. She's got like a rabbit. The kids are playing with this bunny rabbit, and then she comes out and she feels herself as she's stroking the bunny rabbit. I'm Agatha Harkness. This is my bunny rabbit. There was some theory. Somebody said, oh, the rabbit is Doctor Strange. Because they thought, I generally thought as well Doctor Strange was going to be in it. Because Benedict Cumberbatch popped up in like a cast interview discussion before when the series started. They were like, why is Benedict Cumberbatch here? And I think it was just because they just said that this series is tying into Doctor Strange 2, which I think it's called Multiverse of Madness. So yeah, if you watch that and then you finally see Wanda, you're like, what the hell did I miss? This is what they're saying, you've got to watch WandaVision. And there is some reference to the Sorcerer Supreme. But yeah, some people thought the rabbit was Doctor Strange. I love that. So there's an episode then where Agatha, we get a flashback that Agatha Harkness was a witch, like back in Salem in America, where they burned and hanged witches. And she was able to have this power where she could like absorb the energy and the power of other beings. And she does that to all of her other sister witches. And her mum, I think, is there. And she wants this with Wanda. She's like, how did you do all this? Because I don't think she was already there. I think she sort of came in. I think, because that was always unclear to me. I never. Can somebody tell me? Let me know in the comments. Maybe, how did Agatha get there? Was she already in Westview, or when she found out, or she sensed that power, was she like, "Ooh, I want to go over there," and then she came in? I genuinely don't know. Because she made this sort of basement thing with all these magical rooms under this house that was next door to Wanda's house, and the guy who was meant to be Pietro, that's his house. So she must have come in. She must have come in after she made the hex. Yeah, there's a nice little episode where we get a bit more flashback to Wanda's past, like I said, when she's little and she's watching the sitcoms with her family. That's where she gets the inspiration to make this kind of world with Vision. And it actually goes back to that scene that they talk about in Age of Ultron when their house gets bombed by a Stark Industries missile that lands in their living room, kills their parents, but the bomb doesn't go off. That was crazy. And there was a hint there, like, Agatha was like, you clearly stopped that bomb from going off yourself. You already had some kind of power. And then she volunteers then with Hydra to be experimented on with the Mind Stone. The footage gets cut off. All the guys see behind this glass is her walking in, approaching the spear, Loki's spear with the Mind Stone in. And then the camera just cuts out, and then she's just on the floor. And what Wanda sees, is the scepter and the stone like floats towards her, and she sees this light, and she sees this silhouette of the Scarlet Witch, like with the kind of close to her costume in the comics, with like the crown thing and the long cloak, and then she collapses. So, and then this is where the theories start then, because she kind of wakes up from all this, and she confronts Agatha. She's sort of holding her two kids hostage, and the last but one episode, that's where it ended, where she's like, I know what you are now, I finally sussed it out. What you've been doing here, like literally changing whatever you want and doing whatever you want, it's chaos magic. That is like scary stuff, like even with witches, like, and there's apparently this book, Darkhold, Grimhold, I don't know, Darkhold, I think they said it was. It's a witch manual, a book. I don't bloody know. But she said, like, there's a whole chapter on you. This is chaos magic, and there's only one thing that can do that. You are a Scarlet Witch. And this is where she gets her title. This is where she finally gets her name. And what I love about the writing for all the Marvel stuff, for this, for this kind of thing, just by putting A in front of the word Scarlet Witch makes it more impactful. Because in the comics, and even when I was growing up and watching the cartoons and stuff and seeing Scarlet Witch, like, oh, they called her a witch because she, like, does witchy things. Okay. And she's a mutant there. But then they've had to really think how are they going to do this, and she says, you're a Scarlet Witch. And they just make her even more insane, like, even make her even more important and make her even more powerful because you got a lot of power there and you're only meant to be like a myth. So, and Wanda's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not a witch. I don't do magic. The stone did that stuff to me. During all this time, Vision is trying to find his way out. He's sussing this things are not right. He tries to leave the hex, but then like his body's like being pulled back bit by bit. It's really painful, and you find out he can't survive. And then she makes the hex bigger. Some of the sword people get pulled in. Darcy gets pulled in. And Vision gives her memory back, and then, then the last episode is, I think it's like 40 minutes, something like that. To me, the last episode was really good. A lot of people didn't seem to like it. They didn't like the CGI. And I was like, it's fine. I mean, because the last episode we finally got, because we had this big confrontation, and it wasn't until like the last 3 episodes we would get in post-credit scenes, mid-credit scenes. The first one wasn't that great. The first one was just like Pietro shows up in front of Monica Rambeau as she looks into a basement, and that was it. Okay, didn't really have to do that post-credit scene. You could have just shown that. And then the other post-credit scene, which was the big reveal for the last episode, was the guy who was the director of Sword. He was, he was just a douchebag, typical douchebag, the anti Nick Fury. And he's working on something that's going to take out Wanda, that can survive going through there. And you find out he's working on another model of Vision. And this Vision ain't got no soul, it ain't got no mind of its own or anything. It is purely just a robot, a synthetic robot. Follow orders, and that is it. And him and Vision have a fight. And it was funny because Paul Bettany actually said in an interview, I don't know when the interview was, but he said there's an actor in this series that I have looked forward to working with for a long time, and I'm so glad I get to work with this actor. And it's just him. It was just him. He wanted to work with himself for so long. That was pretty funny. And people were like, "Oh my god, it's Benedict Cumberbatch! Oh my god, I know James McAvoy, Professor X." I don't know. They were going nuts. There was like, "Nope, it's Paul Bettany." And fair play, it was really good. Paul Bettany he's so good. He's got a lovely voice, and he just delivers some of these lines in the show which only he could do. I think I can't picture anybody else playing Vision. And there's such a lovely line when he's talking to Wanda. I think it's before Avengers Infinity War. I think it might have been like before Civil War even. So it wasn't long after she came there and she was staying at S.H.I.E.L.D. and she lost her brother and her home. And she's still sort of grieving. She's still missing him, and she's like, it's going to get any better. And everybody's quoted this line. They love it. And Vision just says, well, what is grief if not love persevering? And that's just a brilliant line. I love that. And people will be using that and thinking that to get themselves through that, especially the year that we've had. It's a brilliant line, it would help to bring some comfort to a lot of people, I think. And it's a really, really good line, and it ends with, like I said, it ends with a big fight. Wanda's fighting Agatha. The two Visions are fighting. The twins, they're pretty cool. They're sort of fending off the army. They come in, the sword people. Wanda lets go of the people living in the city, because in this series you find out, even though Wanda she thinks and she believes that she was keeping them all safe, they were literally they were taken over. They were being controlled by her, and they couldn't sleep, they couldn't do anything unless she told them to do it. And some of them were just stuck in loops. Further out into the city you go, there's just somebody just hanging something on, they're just moving this over the washing, and you could see a Vision sees it and they're just crying, and it's like, please make it stop. It was, so that's when you see stuff like that, you think, oh my god, Wanda, you just need to calm down, watch Friends, eat some ice cream, Jesus Christ, just please. So yeah, they have their cool fights, and as the Marvel films go on, especially as I've seen Wanda even more, and in this show, I am loving her even more, because she just does, whether it's her or whether it's Elizabeth Olsen making the choices to do these certain things, just something about her mannerisms. There's one scene, she flies up into the air, she's about to fight Agatha, and she does this thing, she goes, boop, she does that, and she disappears. Now, she could have done anything, she just could have gone she just could have done something, but she does that, with her hands, she does the cool finger movement things when she's doing all the spells, and it's the head tilt. And it's you're dead, bonk. I just love little things like that. And you always notice that in this show, and I think in the films as well. Whenever she would tilt her head, you're oh, somebody gonna die. And then it ended really well. It was actually really badass, because when Agatha first captured Wanda in the basement, there was these runes, and the witch who placed them there was the only one who could use magic in them, so that's why Wanda was powerless. And when they're up in the sky, she does the same thing. But she does it on the walls of the hex, of the barriers that's going around. And then she does this, and basically she transforms. She just changes her outfit, and she becomes the Scarlet Witch. She just embraces who she is. She doesn't quite understand it, and that's what she says to Monica at the end. She's like, I don't know what this chaos magic is. I haven't got a clue. I just thought I had badass powers, and they were red, but I'm going to figure it out. And yeah, the outfit, I'm not going to put a picture up, because it's probably already up. You can go and see for yourself. Just watch the show. But the outfit was amazing. It just looks so good, so badass. Just the detail in the crown that she wears, and the armbands, the corset, the cloak. It's very good. It's very faithful, and they did a good job. Marvel did another good job by just recreating this awesome suit. So yeah, she defeats Agatha by leaving her in this town under the spell of her being the character that she was pretending to be. Um, I don't know how that's going to work if the hex barrier's down, because that town is free now. So unless she literally is just going to leave her there under this spell, yeah, that's pretty scary. She's probably going to be, I bet you any money, because I think she said, like, because the thing was, Agatha kept saying, she was like, you don't know what you've done. You have unleashed the power of the Scarlet Witch, chaos magic. You have no idea what's inside you. And she's like, well, if I need you, I know where you are. So she's leaving her there. So she's probably going to come back in Doctor Strange too. I bet. So yeah, she flies off. But also, when Vision and Vision were fighting, I love how they ended it. They literally ended it with an intellectual debate. I love that. They were punching each other. They were flying through the sky, phasing through each other, explosions, smashing into the ground. Yes, we got all that. But at the end of it, they were like, I'm sure he does. He says something like, he's like, may I concur? May I offer an intellectual? And he's like, yes, okay. So they just have this proper British Englishman debate. I love it. And they just bring up this topic because the white Vision, because he's just all white, and you can see, I like the effect they did on his eyes, and they made him like really circuitry. I like that. But he's like, my mission is to destroy the Vision, and he's like, well, and he brings up this debate of, well, he references something, I don't know, you'd have to go and watch it, but he references something. He basically says, well, am I really the Vision? Because I don't have a Mind Stone. All I have are memories, and I look like him. And he's like, you're not the Vision either, or something like that. But it's really smart what they do. And the how am I gonna say this? The red and green Vision like unlocks the memories of the new white Vision, and he remembers all these things. And he's like, and then he says, "I am Vision," but then he flies off. We never see him again. That's it for the episode. So we've got a Vision out there now, because at the end, Scarlet Witch, she takes the kids home, she takes Vision home, the hex starts shrinking, say goodnight to the kids, and they say goodbye, and she finally comes to terms. That's the grieving process for her done. She's come to terms, she has to move on, it is what it is. She loses the kids, she loses Vision. But now, yeah, there's another Vision out there. There is another Vision with all the memories. And this is where it's come full circle, because that's what Vision was in the comics. Vision was just a robot. He was just a robot. I don't know if he was built by Hank Pym or Tony Stark. I can't remember. But yeah, he was a robot. There was no Infinity Stone in his head. Nothing like that. He was purely just a robot. So now they've come full circle, where he is that now. He is now a robot. Whether him and Wanda are going to hook up again, no idea. So that's pretty much how that wraps up. It just ends, and people are like, "Oh, is there going to be a season 2? Oh my god, I want to see more WandaVision." No, it's literally just a mini series. That's it. I mean, look at it. Just think of it as like a 5-hour bloody film. For God's sake, you got a good deal. I don't want another season. I mean, if you're gonna do another season, just go the Scarlet Witch or something. I don't know. Yeah, it just with that interesting concept of the of the alternate reality with the sitcoms and everything, that it's unique in itself. I wouldn't want them to ruin it, so just leave it at that. Then we are given there's two post-credit scenes. The first one is Monica Rambeau is brought into a theatre, and an agent brings her in, and then the agent turns out to be a Skrull. Yes, do you remember the Skrulls from Captain Marvel? They were shape changers. And she's like, there's an old friend of your mum's. Does she say mum's? Yeah. She's an old friend of your mum's or old friend of Captain Marvel or something. She says an old friend and wants to meet you or work with you or something. And she's like, well, okay. And then she just points to the sky. So, clearly she is going to be in Captain Marvel 2. I'm hoping anyway. So yeah, that was that. And then there's another credit scene right at the very end. This is where I would have liked there to be. This is where I would have liked the new Vision to show up, not to interact with Wanda, just to show up and to tease. But we cut to Wanda she's in a cabin, like literally in the middle of nowhere, in this lush sort of mountain countryside. And she's sitting on the porch, she's having a drink, and then you see her walk in, and the camera then goes into the back, into the back room, and you see her. She's in her Scarlet Witch outfit, floating in the air, reading through the book, the dark book thing, and she's got like, and her arms are doing this. She's got like 8 or 4 arms, and she's doing all this stuff with glyphs and everything, and she's sussing things out. So, and that I think reminds a lot of people. Reminded me anyway of Doctor Strange. Because if you remember in the film Doctor Strange, when he's learning and training and reading and studying, he's sleeping, but then he's in his they call it the astral body, astral body plane thing, and he's studying. So this is where, to me, where that's the connection, and that's because she's. I think Agatha said something like, "You were destined to you are meant to have the same powers." Or be as or more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. And that's probably why Doctor Strange wants Wanda. He's like, right, calm down. I don't want to fight. Just come here. Let's just have a chat. And this is where the theories start going now, because I like the way that they explain Doctor Strange, because he's not just a wizard, especially in this. They unlock parts of their brains. They access the multiverse and all this kind of stuff. And I feel that witches are more the western side of that art form. So they just became more cultish. Whereas in the East, where the Doctor Strange learned all this with the monks or whatever, it's more sort of spiritual. Whereas maybe the witches were more sort of cult, and they were turning more dark. They were dark in the other Doctor Strange stuff, but yeah, to see that kind of power in a different culture, maybe that's what the witches are. That's what Agatha is. And yeah, and maybe we'll learn more about Wanda in Doctor Strange 2. We don't know. But yeah, overall, WandaVision, I liked it. It was a good series. It was the first series for characters from the main series, from the main film series. And I love them. The actors, great. There wasn't one bad actor. I mean, I'm being biased because I love the films. I mean, maybe one or two post-credit scenes that didn't need to be post-credit. That's probably it. But in terms of the story, keeping me hooked, I was laughing, I was engaged, it was dramatic, it was touching. You don't go into this as well. I mean, if you are watching this, and I've already spoiled it for you, but if you want to watch it for yourself, do not go expecting big action scenes, nothing like that. It's not like that at all. If you want that, though, in 2 weeks' time, we're getting The Falcon and The Winter Soldier. So we've only got to wait 2 more weeks, and then we're getting another Marvel series. I can't wait for that. But yeah, overall, I liked WandaVision. It was very, very good. I recommend it. And I'd probably watch it again. Maybe get it on Blu-ray for the collection. And yeah, just gets me excited for the future. I'm not going to watch, I'm not going to do, an episodic review for the Winter Soldier or the Falcon either. I'm going to do what I'm doing now. I'm going to watch the whole thing and then give my thoughts on it. But yeah, guys, please let me know what you think. I've rambled on enough. Let me know in the comments what you think. What was your favourite part, your favourite characters? Do you like the suit, the Scarlet Witch suit? Do you like Agatha Harkness as a villain? All the speculation. Please, theories. I'd love to hear them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next fluffy video. I don't know.